Good morning and happy Tuesday, May the 12th. Uh, Hope everybody had a great morning this morning. Uh, I made $74.93 this morning. So another good morning. And before we get started, as usual, I'd like to read today's verse of the day, Romans 10:9, that if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Um, I pray that you have already accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, but if not, um, I hope that you do, and I hope that in some way I can help you meet Jesus. I'd really love to introduce you. Um, but that being said, let's get into today's breakdown. Once again, uh, made $74.93 this morning. Made two trades on one stock, and that was BZFD. It was the only one really obvious to me. It was an acquisition. Um, Looks like BuzzFeed is giving up controlling interest to another media group, and uh, they will. There's some plans uh, to improve them. So anyway, good strong news this morning. So I made two trades. This was a continuation from yesterday and after hours, I believe. It popped up on my after hours screener. As you can see, there's the news there. And then it kind of came down. And then really it popped back up a little bit here, and then just kind of went sideways. But my trades were right in here. Actually right before the move up. I saw this break over VWAP and took my first position at $1.53, but then it pulled back, and so I averaged down at $1.52, and then again, and two more times at $1.50, and it was just right there, $1.49, $1.50, just back and forth, back and forth. There was just as I got in, some massive sellers stepped in, but there was also massive buyers, so I was just kind of riding uh, this zone, um, and so I was, my cost base average was right here at $1.51, and then it kind of came up, uh, and I thought this is just a little too grindy. Um, it's all really crowded, so I got out, and it took a little while for it to fill, but ultimately was able to get out, and then the next candle it just started ripping up. So I just kind of sat and watched it, because like you see here, it popped up, and then it kind of consolidated again here, and then it just popped up, and really there was just no warning. I was sitting here watching the level two, um, and then all of a sudden these big sellers just dropped off, and it took off. So that was my first trade. Nothing special there, um, you know, um, but I made $18 on that one. And then my second trade was here on opening. Um, so at opening, it pulled back, and then it pulled back some more way down here, and then it pushed back up. So then I got in um, right here at $1.68, and it pushed up. Uh, yeah, I got in right here at the break of the EMA 20 at $1.68, and then it pushed up to $1.70. Or it pushed up here to $1.73, and I accidentally hit the sell button, but I only had it set to 10% of the position. So, it only sold 118 shares there at $1.70. So you can say I took profit there. It was a accident, but then it continued to push up here to $1.78. Yeah, I pushed up to about $1.78, and I got out at $1.73. Um, so that was my bigger gainer there. So I would think like 60 something bucks there. Um, so anyway, that was my two trades today. Just looking for that dip and rip is what we got, and I played that perfectly. Um, got out at the right time. Uh, you know, I missed out on 5 cents. I think what was it $1.73. Yeah, I got out at $1.73, but it ran up here. So I kind of let it give back a little bit and then push back. But when I saw it pulling back, I went ahead and got out there at $1.73. And then you see it kind of went sideways and then it just flushed. And it's been pretty well flushing ever since. Um, so, you can see a large seller there. At opening, there was a large seller at 120,000 right here at open. And so I was just waiting for these big sellers right here at open to kind of drop off and then pick up, get some larger buyers on the book here on the bid, and right down here at the bottom, then it pushed back up, and I saw those bigger buyers starting to step up 16, 20,000, and these were down around 3 or 4,000. So uh, as soon as I saw those bigger buyers stepping in, I was just waiting for the price to react, and then once it started pushing up, I got in for 1,100 shares there at $1.68. So right there at the break of the uh, right at the break of the EMA 20, and then of course it kept going up, and I got out for a 5 cent per share gain. So nice boring day. Not a whole lot. Um, Not a whole lot that was on the top gainers list this morning. It was really kind of dead. Um, you just kind of had to pick your spots. Um, everything was pretty flat, either too cheap or the float was too high. Um, you know, uh, you can see where I got in here. Volume was pretty low, and then it crept in right here to over 4 million shares in this one candle. That's in the 5 minutes. So if we go back and look at the 1 minute, you know, um, I got in, there's 150,000, 146,000. And then, it kind of tapered off and it was just back and forth, back and forth. And then once I finally got filled, the candle I got filled on was 14,000 shares. But then all of a sudden it popped up 2,000 shares. And then almost a million shares. Again, over almost a million shares of volume there, and over a million shares there. So, right here in these two candles was the biggest volume really of the whole shebang. But again, it's what I to me was the most obvious security to trade. It had pretty decent news. It was in the right price range. The float was a little high. 29 million with 37 million outstanding shares. But the price action was pretty stable. As you can see, it was just bouncing between 148 and 151, 149 and 51, 149 and 50, 149 and 50, and then it kind of came up. And so, it was just kind of grindy, but with the low volume, I was $18 in profit, and I was like, hey, we'll take the base hit, and then made this push up. So I was looking for a drop, a pullback, and we got it, but it was on a lot lower volume, and it was looking like this. So just wasn't ready. Just wasn't paying as close of attention, and then it popped up again, and by the time I could get my fingers on the keyboard, it was all the way up here, and I just wasn't going to chase the move. I didn't want it to flush back. I'd use the majority of my buying power here on this. Really, I was kind of looking for, I was playing the break of 50 and hoping for it to push up here, like it did here. But then those big sellers stepped in and was just kind of keeping it from going up, and it pushed down. So, I dollar cost average down, and then once I was right here, I was at like 151 cost average. You know, it was I was showing a little bit of profit, so I was just going to take my profit and live to play another day. I think the most I was down was $30. You know, like I said, I was green. It just didn't look like it was going to pan out, so I was going to live to play another day and wait for the open and see what happened there, see if I could get a dip and rip. And that's what we got. And you know, $74. I'm not mad at it. Um, you know, continuing that climb up little by little. Um, $70 here, $60 there, 140 when I can get it. Um, you know, uh, Especially with a smaller account, I'm learning. It's just a, it's just a grind. You're gonna have to grind it out, especially when you're trading with a cash account and um, you're trying to um, manage your buying power uh, so that you can trade more than one time. And right now, my comfort zone is about $1,000 for the initial entry, and that gives me ample room to average down, like you've seen me do the last couple of days. Um, and that's just how I manage my risk and how I manage my buying power. Um, you know, we've only got really what 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks until June the 4th, when the pattern day trader rule changes. So that'll allow me to take bigger initial position sizes and still have that buffer zone of averaging down that I would like to have um, on each trade, and then uh, still be able to trade again later on. Um, you know, uh, I've adopted the philosophy of just taking the base hit, getting what the market gives me. If it's getting too grindy, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing, I can get out and trade again. Um, so just taking it one step at a time, being patient. Um, I funded this account with 5,500 uh, back in February, the end of February. So March, April, and now we're almost halfway through May. Um, I've had 5 trading days in the month of May, and you can see right here. Well, that's really more like a month. We'll just May 5th there. So for the month of May, I've made 500. My goal for the month is 1,000. That's what my goal was for last month. That's what my goal is for this month. It's a reasonable goal. It doesn't put a lot of pressure. I don't feel like I'm pressured. Um, and the biggest part of trading, the biggest hurdle, you can know all the strategies, you can have them all down pat, but it's the psychological battle that you're fighting every day when you get on the market. Um, you know, I've got to achieve this number today, or I've got to achieve this number by the end of the month. It's good to have goals. It's good to strive to hit a certain goal. Otherwise, you lack motivation. Um, but you want to have a reasonable goal, especially in the market, because the market is very emotional. You got the highs and you got the lows. Um, there will come a time when um, taking $1,000 profit will be easy because the market uh, is really hot, especially in my sec in the price range. The type of stocks I like to trade. I don't like large cap stocks. The price action is just too slow. Um, I like momentum. I like them to pop. I like seeing those 200, $300 or 200, 300% gainers. You know, um, so there'll come a time when those days present themselves. Right now, I'm just taking what the market's given me, and that's smaller base hit days. As you look last month, you know, um, I had a couple of really big days here at the 1st of April, but then $20. I had another good day, another $20, 60, 40, and then I lost 130. And then 116, and then 227. That one really brought me back from that loss there. And then 39 was $7. I think I gave back. I think I was actually up 40, and I gave back, most of it there. And then 180, and then 17, and then 130, and then 120. So, just taking what the market's given me. You know, I feel blessed to have every day over 60, 65 so far this month, and Lord willing, that'll continue. Um, really, kind of my goal right now is just to get green, get out, get in, get green, and get out, and make profit and continue a good solid streak of green days, and you know, just continue to build that capital going into June 4th, and then possibly having $8,500 is kind of the goal. 85, 8,400 um, when we go into June, and then when the PDT rule kind of goes away and we move into the new rules and as platforms swap over, continuing to manage my risk the same way, um, but having a little more freedom to take bigger initial um, position sizes will be nice, and it's not hurting, uh, you know, a later trade. Like for instance, today on this opening dip and rip, where I only had, you know, uh, about 2,000 in buying power. I still wanted to have some buying power to be able to average down, even though I felt pretty confident in this move up. You still kind of want to have that security to be able to average down. Um, but, if we were under the new rules, uh, I would have still had full buying power, plus about $18. So, instead of taking, um, I think I think I had 3,000. I actually used $2,000 buying power here. So I had enough for another average down. So, instead of being able to take 2,000, I could have taken 3,000. So, just a bigger position size, and I still have room to average down, or even 4,000 and still have room to average down, um, and just having that ability. But again, it all comes down to managing your risk, managing your account, uh, managing your emotions. Trading is management. Uh, you're managing all these things at one time. You're trying to keep your emotions in check. Um, if you get overly emotional, like me personally, if I win a big trade, like back here, I think it was, yeah, end of um, March, I had this $396 day. I was down, and then I hit a big trade, and I made 400 on it, and I was really fired up. The initial loss was no big deal. I think it's like $20. Uh, you know, $8, $10, something like that. See, but I hit that 400, and I was really pumped. I was emotional. Could I have kept trading? Sure, I still had buying power, um, but I was very emotional. I had heightened emotions, so I decided, hey, I'm really excited. Um, I could keep trading, and it did. The move continued on that I could have got in, but for me, my emotions were compromised because I was overly excited. Um, so I wanted to step away. I called it a day. $396 for the day. I was really happy. Um, and then, and on top of that, it pulled me out of this drawdown. As you can see, at the beginning of March, I was down 417, and I clawed my way back up. And then I had another big draw or big loss there at 270 to put me back negative. Um, we can go back here, and you can see this is that $400 loss. I was up 200, and it put me down 200, and so I had to claw my way back up, and then I got green, back up 200, and then I had this $270 loss, put me back in the red. Not quite as deep, but still. And I clawed back, and then um, so uh, that $270 day right after getting back green, or that 390 or $400 day there, I was really excited. So, I had that was towards the end of the month. I knew I was going to have cushion going into the next month, and I was real happy about that. So um, my emotions were heightened. So I decided, hey, just uh, let's step away, uh, call it a day, and then we'll come back fresh on the next day. Um, so managing your emotions, if you're overly excited or you're just, you know, devastated, like here on this day, $400 loss, I was just devastated. And I think, let's go back and look. Yeah, I didn't even trade the next day. I was so emotionally compromised after that loss, um, that the next day it was still bothering me. So I just didn't trade the next day. I was just, I was down and out. Um, last month, um, you know, I can't remember what every day why I didn't trade. I think this day there was a storm or something. There were some days I just didn't like what I was seeing. Um, you know, Yesterday was a good day. Today was a good day, just as good as yesterday. Just didn't make as much. The market didn't give me as much. So just recognizing, hey, I'm getting what the market's going to give me today, and you know, be happy, be grateful, be thankful for that. Um, so uh, that kind of does it for today. Not a whole lot. You know, it's a great day when trading's kind of boring. Uh, when your trades are boring because uh, you didn't really make big mistakes, um, and it just kind of flowed. Uh, so hopefully you had a great day. Hopefully you caught that big move on BZFD. Hopefully you caught another move on something else. You know, let me know in the comments how you did today. Love to hear it. Um, Again, I hope everybody had a great day. God bless you, and we'll see you tomorrow.